Mike Evans out at least 4 to 5 weeks. Don't expect him back until week number 12. Devastating news to Mike Evans owners. Cooper Kupp on the move. This just got some legs to it. This news spreading all over the place from many different sources that Cooper Kupp being shopped for a second-round pick. Now, I don't know that they'll get that in return for the older, which could be an often injured Cooper Kupp. I'm not sure that they're going to get that price tag, but why are they trying to move him? Are they packing it in already? The Rams still have a shot. It's really early on during the season here. They're getting all their weapons back. Puka Nacua activated in that 21-day window. Will he return in week 9? There's some people that think Puka Nacua could return in week 9. We've got Deebo Samuel out of the hospital. Chris Godwin undergoing surgery for the dislocated / fractured ankle. I believe it's fractured to some degree. Is there just ligament damage? Is there any sort of bone damage at all? We'll find out later on. Alvin Kamara getting paid on an extension. What's it mean? It means that they're saving a bunch of money on the cap next year and they don't lose in the free agency. So Alvin Kamara is staying in New Orleans in 2025. All that and more. The Fantasy Football Show. Breaking news show. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Lots of news to go over today. Lots of news. A lot of impactful news. And this one was kind of interesting to start off with something I haven't talked about yet. This is the projected first round draft selection order for the 2025 NFL draft, which excites me. Like I get so excited about January 1. It's like Christmas to me, talking about the next season. Not because I don't love enduring and going through all the ups and downs of a season, but there's nothing like rookie prep. There's nothing like starting off the Moon Man list and Spacemen cadets from scratch and just having a fantastic go at an early shake at the upcoming 2025 season. I can't wait for this. But the Patriots are looking like the number 1 overall pick. Panthers, Browns. Do the Browns draft a quarterback? Does Shedeur Sanders end up in Cleveland? Does he end up in Carolina? What other quarterbacks do you think land in new homes next year? I can't wait to break all that down with you. So it's kind of exciting to see this draft order here. Saints preparing for next year already. Alvin Kamara, do they grab a quarterback? What do they do? There's a lot of interesting things to talk about in relation to that. I can't wait. Cooper Kupp. Let's start off with the Cooper Kupp news. Cooper Kupp, full participant in Tuesday's practice ahead of the Thursday game. Very excited to have Cooper Kupp back in lineups, but will he be limited? There's still a lot of talk about him being limited to a degree. We don't know. We have no clue. All I know is him being back as a full participant Tuesday gives me hope that he'll be in such a good place on the field, when on the field Thursday, that you can't sit him for any other player. You know, he's a touchdown threat anytime he gets the football, even if he's limited, let's say, between the 20s, but in there in the red zone every single time, he is a threat to have 1 or 2 touchdowns. So we will be all over this. So hang tight as we rock and roll into the rest of this news. There's so much to go over. Trades. D-Hop. Where's D-Hop headed? A lot of you think he's getting traded. Today he could. D-Hop to Tampa, says Will. It could be D-Hop to KC. It could be a lot of different things. D-Hop probably on the move. Now, wouldn't it be amazing if Cooper Kupp landed in KC, though? That would be crazy. That'd be absolutely wild. Cooper Kupp, here's this news right here. Multiple teams. The Rams have called. Remember when we talked about this last week, that Cooper Kupp was... people were interested in Cooper Kupp. Teams were interested in Cooper Kupp. Teams were calling the Rams, and the Rams were not interested. That was last week's report. This report here, the Rams have called multiple teams. They have called, picked up the phone. about Cooper Kupp and are seeking a second-round pick per Diana Rossini. Will a team bite? I think a team could. I think he is that good. There's a scenario where this could happen. This is another report here that says the Rams are definitely open to the idea. This is Diana Rossini as well. So all coming from pretty much one source, Diana Rossini. Could it be right or wrong? I don't know. I'm not the one that created the buzz Diana did. And if you believe Diana, then it looks like the Rams are interested. Now, this is something that I could see getting shot down to, days later. We don't know. Right now, it seems like it's got legs, though. And this one right here, this is wild, too. All coming kind of from the same sources, though. Be mindful of that. But a rumor that the Vikings and the Rams are in serious talks for a Matthew Stafford trade. This, I don't know that I'm buying into this one. We'll see. That seems wild to me. I don't think that like, why would that even, like, think about the long-term implications on that one. Like, what are you doing? Where's that report? I have that right here. I think it is right here. This one's wild to me. I mean, think about what you're talking about. Giving up on JJM. Like, what would that even mean? What would that trade even look like? I don't know that I believe that one. I think that one seems capped to me. Very, very big cap. Cooper Kupp, ankle for full participant. Get ready for Cooper Kupp to hopefully return to form in week number 9, but be very close to it in week 8. So I'm starting Cooper Kupp. I imagine that you all will as well. But if you have Cooper Kupp questions, we can break those down. Alvin Kamara getting his 2-year extension, $24.5 million worth of an extension. And it might be confusing to see this and be like, why would you do this if you're packing it in? This saves them, I believe, about, I want to say like something along the lines of, I believe it's, where's that figure? I want to say it saves them between like 7 and 10 million for next year. 2-year extension, $25 million. Let me see here, 25. So basically, there was 1 year left, $18. The Saints save roughly $18 million on the 2025 salary cap by making this move. 18 million, not 10, 18 million. So this is a very smart move for 2025. The way contracts work, money and upfront money and guarantees, it's very maneuverable, which is why I always say the cap is fake in a lot of ways. There's always a way to manipulate cap space, which is why Jerry Jones is a complete buffoon when he says, we couldn't afford Derrick Henry, we couldn't afford Saquon Barkley. Like, Jerry crapped the bed harder than any owner in the history of football by passing on both Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry. During the offseason, we talked about how this was the best running back free agent market in the history of the league. We hadn't seen two, and Jacobs could be still very good. He could have been a lot better somewhere else. But Jacobs, Henry, and Barkley, there has never been, as we said over and over in the offseason, ever been a better free agency in NFL history for RBs than this past season. And Jerry doesn't attack the RB position, not even in the draft. And then he goes to radio and starts talking about how he says he doesn't think Derrick Henry would be doing what Derrick Henry would be doing or is doing in Dallas, trying to double down, standing on business on this whole notion that he shouldn't have went after Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley, which is absolutely asinine. And Jerry's proving he shouldn't be running the team anymore because he doesn't know what he's talking about. 2-year deal, saves $18 million for 2025. Also, he was essentially 1 year left on the contract, which was not expected to be something that was which was held. This guy was going to be a free agency, hitting free agency essentially next offseason, this coming offseason. So this keeps Kamara in-house for another year for sure, and it gives this team back $18 million. So very exciting for a team in 2025 that might have a top 6, top 5 overall pick, depending on how they finish. Right now, they're projected to be the 6th overall pick, the New Orleans Saints. So give them a quarterback. Maybe that is exciting. Who knows? But if you don't get a Shedeur Sanders or something, I don't know that you're competing with a rookie quarterback. There are a couple quarterbacks that will be able to give you that kind of opportunity, but not every rookie can give you a Jaden Daniels type of situation or experience. The Rams designated Puka Nacua to return from IR. The window opens for this. Doesn't mean he's playing this week. In fact, he's not playing this week. He would probably have a decent shot, and I say decent very loosely, playing week 9. So we talked about Cooper Kupp, trading for him injured, ahead of everybody, getting ahead of this thing, trading for him before he was destined to return, taking advantage of Warren Williams that have 2 and 3 wins and that have Puka Nacua, and they're not sure what they can even do with them, and you going and getting him. He's one of the best buy lows in fantasy, period, Puka Nacua. And now he's designated to return and probably has a decent shot at week 9, but probably definitely week 10. And it really depends on Cooper Kupp. If Cooper Kupp got traded ahead of the trade deadline, then Puka could kind of rush back, in a sense. Like, we could see that happening. But Puka Nacua, ready to return and one of the better buy low players walking into this week if he still can pull something off. This is the report on Mike Evans. Mike Evans expected to be out until after the week 11 bye. So week number 8, week number 9, week number 10. That is 3 weeks of football. The week 11 bye and back in the 5th week. The bye weeks always seem to play a role in when a player returns. And whenever the bye week even sniffs the return date, usually the player does not come back until after the bye week. Because why rush a player right on that final game before a bye when you can use the bye week to get them back? So very much expected that he does not return until week number 12. That is devastating for people that have Mike Evans. That means Mike Evans has 335 yards this season. If he returns in week 12, he would need 665 yards over the final 7 games to reach 1,000 yards for 11 consecutive seasons. If anybody can do it, it is Mike Evans. Hopefully he gets back in enough time with the hamstring. I think he can. I think he can still be fine for people down the stretch, but definitely a devastating blow for people that were getting tremendous top, 5 to 10 wide receiver production out of Mike Evans. Good news for Deebo Samuel. He's been released from the hospital. He left Sunday's game with the pneumonia-like symptoms. The fluid in the lungs hit the hospital. Now he's out. I don't expect him to return, similar to what I just said about the bye week being placed almost beautifully for Tampa Bay in regards to the Mike Evans situation. This team, the Niners, has a game this week. Then they have a bye next week in week number 9. So you can almost bet your bottom dollar they're very, very tempted to say, let's not push this thing. Although they could, and then he has a bye week to kind of heal from that. And Shanahan's known for being reckless with his players. So what do we really know about this situation? Nothing, because Shanahan's involved. And the way he puts his players in harm's way. You can argue with me all you want, but a true Niner fan does know that this is true. But Deebo Samuel probably out this week. Huge blow. Trade opportunity, yes, because Ayuk's done for the year. So Deebo, even if he disappoints you this year, and they have a bye week, which he can't control, and then he comes back, he's the number 1 wide receiver in this offense. So, there's still some great buy low opportunity for Deebo Samuel. This play that injured Chris Godwin, very controversial, to be honest with you, especially in the comment section anywhere that this is posted. But Schefter reporting that the play that took Chris Godwin out has been reviewed and I believe been concluded to being a hip drop tackle related type of play. You watch it and it's really hard to tell a defensive player they can't tackle Godwin the way Godwin got tackled. I understand the hip drop tackle as it relates to a player chasing down a player, grabbing them from behind and laying on the back of their legs, and almost like you're using reins to pull back a bunch of horses, and you're trying to grab that player, pull them back, and you're pinning down their legs. But this was like a collision. This was a collision that ended up having some of the makings of it by the random collision of the two players. This wasn't somebody trying to hip drop tackle him, in my opinion. It's kind of wild. The NFL is finding everybody for everything. And I just don't know that I agree this is a hip drop tackle situation, but it's very controversial. A lot of people obviously believe it is. A lot of people obviously believe it isn't. A lot of Tampa Bay fans believe it is. A lot of non-Tampa Bay fans think it's wild that they're even bringing this up. But definitely being reviewed, and Godwin having the ankle surgery, broken or dislocated ankle. We'll find out more details. A lot of the definitions of whether it's broken or dislocated only come down to when they go in there and they look at the ligaments and whether this thing was mostly contained inside the ligament pieces of this thing, where you're basically, separating everything in here without fracturing these bones right here, and it's all ligament related and tissue related. So if this thing was out of place to the point where he felt like, I could pop this back in, then that's kind of a dislocated ankle. If there's more damage to this thing at the bone level, then there's fractures involved. So we'll have more information, but definitely done for the season. And there's a lot of talk about him being fully healed by 2025. This is just the standard thing that they say to be nice. Like, oh yeah, he fully expected to be ready for 20. It's so ridiculous when people say that. Don't talk about what a player is going to be, how likely he's going to be healthy for 2025 before you fully even identify what in the hell is going on. People are suggesting this. Let me tell you something. The likelihood of him being unhampered in 2025 is slim to none. This is a very, very tough injury for a wide receiver. He's going to have a very rough first year back from this situation, and it's going to put his health and his ability to stave off future injuries in a very peculiar position. So we'll find out. The dislocation and broken and fracture ankle mark, as I just said, is related to ligaments and bone. If there's bone fractures involved, it's a fracture. If it's all ligament related, which isn't necessarily better in a lot of ways, depends how bad the ligament damage is. But ligament damage is bad, really bad. If it was a fracture, there's almost, in some ways, you could say more hope that he could recover quicker, because it would be, doing similar to like, depending on where you break, like the lower leg, you can have the tightrope surgery. You can have different things like Tony Pollard, like Tua Tagovailoa had, where you can get back to form relatively quickly, but you could have, if there's nerve or ligament damage, a very slow return. Like the ligament damage and the nerve damage in the tissue, surrounding tissue damage, is what causes very, very slow first year returns. So we'll find out more information. But what a devastating week. We call some weeks Bloody Sunday. This was like the red wedding of fantasy football weeks. It was unbelievable. Like from the Game of Thrones red wedding scene, this was like straight out of that. It was like he turned to your players and they're just getting taken out left and right unexpectedly. Like, what in the hell is going on here? Jaden Daniels is very much in doubt for week number 8 with the ribs. They want to protect this kid. They want to do right by him. I get it. I agree with it to some extent. I'm disappointed because he may miss a game. He's on an unbelievable pace, but it's all about what's best for this kid's future, and you don't want to run him out there and cause some sort of crazy injury that is related to not being patient enough or smart enough with this situation. And it's not all about pain tolerance. There's risk of different things. When you're talking about ribs and punctures into vital organs, what are your ribs there for? To protect your vital organs. That's what it is. It's a cage around your vital organs. Vital meaning if they get pierced or something, you could be done. You could be done on this earth if something happens to those vital organs. And your ribs being compromised is kind of like having a safe that has the lock smashed in. So there is some concern here to make sure that your future is okay and not to push it for one game. So they may roll into this game. Very disappointing not to see Caleb versus Jaden. This was going to be such a good affair. What a devastating thing to potentially not see. That's been set up from the beginning. And so Let's see here. I'm going to see if there's any other news breaking right now as we speak. ESPN reporting. No, that's not new. Hold on. Let me just see here. We've got, that's pretty much it right now. The most intriguing thing to talk about too right now is this draft order that's currently set to have, as of right now, as of today, the Patriots is the number 1 overall pick. The Panthers is the 2nd overall pick. The Browns as the 3rd overall pick. Shedeur Sanders is going where? Dallas Cowboys. That keeps being linked to Shedeur, but I mean, you're gonna trade into the 1 or the 2 or the 3 overall pick? I don't think so. I don't think teams that have that pick that need a quarterback are gonna be trading it. Who's gonna trade Shedeur Sanders or other quarterback that you may have? And we got a long ways to go before that's even determined, because a lot can play out in the next couple of weeks and months in terms of these incoming rookie QBs and incoming rookie players. And if anybody hasn't watched Ashton Genty looking like an absolute phenom, maybe the first non-quarterback to win this Heisman, in a while, watching Genty be this absolute superstar in the making in college, just breaking record after record and looking like he's going to take down Barry Sanders' rushing record in college. Genty's averaging so many more yards and touchdowns per game than anything we've seen since Barry. But it's so wild that this kid could be easily a top 5 running back in the National Football League in the right situation. If you guys don't know who Ashton Genty is, take a little gander at what he's doing in college football right now. He's going to be the belle of the ball of rookie content creation. So buckle up for that. We've got working on trade and Gibbs and Barkley owner. Let's see here. Working on a trade with the Gibbs and Barkley owner. Thoughts on Gibbs and Barkley for HN and MHJ? I assume you mean and or, because there's no way in hell you're getting both. So I would say, like, if I see this right here and I say HN and MHJ over Gibbs, I want Gibbs. And I love HN. If I see MHJ and HN and I see Barkley, I want Barkley even more so. So the answer is yes. Jacobs and MHJ for Gibbs. That, if you got that done, you'd be a wizard, Ethan. But all of those are yeses. The Jacobs and MHJ is a hell yes, but you're not going to get that for Gibbs. Buying Gibbs low, that time was last week when I put up the buy low board and I said, go get Gibbs now. This is the best trade advice I could give anybody on the entire season, is to get Gibbs on the low. That time, that ship has sailed. But you could still get him in complicated deals. But buying him low, like for Jacobs and MHJ, there's no shot in hell you're getting something like that done. I'm 6-1. Trade Jamar and JSN and Kraft for Tyreek and Kenneth Walker. I would do that if you... that's so tough. If you needed a move, but you're 6-1 and Jamar Chase is Jamar Chase. I don't know. I like this move in some sense if I was 3 wins, 4 wins. I look at this and I say you're 6-1 for a reason. I imagine your depth of, let's say, you're downgrading from Chase to Tyreek Hill, who I think is the best value right now aside from CeeDee Lamb in terms of buy low wide receivers for week number 8 and beyond. And I'm going to have a video on that tonight. We'll do a video on buy lows. The buy low video is tonight. And I would say that if you needed to buy low, Tyreek Hill's the guy. Lamb is the guy. But if you want 2 players, this is it. Like, this is the deal of a lifetime. This is the deal we talk about for people that need to divide and conquer. Divide and conquer meaning you have one player like Jamar Chase or JJ or Derrick Henry and you weren't winning. Your team is not stepping up. You've either been hit with massive injuries that aren't your fault, or you drafted badly around Derrick Henry, or you drafted badly around JJ. There's no sense in holding a Barkley, a Henry, a JJ, a Jamar Chase if you can't win with them. It's a tough business decision, but you're standing on business like Jerry is about his situation. You're standing on business if you need to. There's no, oh, dude, don't trade him. You don't trade him. You might have to trade him. Now, you're 6-1 and you don't have to. So I would say, are you really gaining enough in the Kenneth Walker spot based on your lineup? Even if you're using JSN with DK week to week, are you really going to benefit enough from the Kenneth Walker spot to downgrade Chase into Tyreek Hill? That is a tough thing to say yes to. I would probably say keep Jamar Chase, but this is the trade to make Anybody watching that needs to make a move, that is the move to make. It just so happens that that owner at 6-1 might not need it. If you could tell me who you're starting in place of Kenneth Walker, if it is JSN or another player, might help me out. What if it's Bigsby? Then hell no to this trade. You go Jamar Chase and Bigsby versus Walker and Tyreek Hill. But I love Tyreek Hill. He's a great buy low. He's the best buy low at wide receiver outside of Lamb. And fantastic cooking up of a trade, though. Was able to trade Mason and Higgins for Breece Hall. That's how you get rid of Mason. It's not something that we take lightly here as we're Masonites. And Mason's going to have a great week number 8. He has a bye week. Probably has a great week number 9. And then you start getting into maybe some cloudiness around volume and timeshare with Christian McCaffrey back in mid-November whenever he does return to some remnants of his former self and form. But it's going to be a remnants. It's not the same Christian McCaffrey. But if you need to get out, if you want to get out, I created a video for this saying, don't get rid of him if you don't need to, just like the Bijan video. The Bijan video said, if you want to trade Bijan, this is how you do it, but I don't know that you should do it. You probably shouldn't if you're in this situation. You should probably hang tight and believe in Bijan in this situation, and if you could sell high off the name value and get into this safer buy low situation that's just as good, if not better, then do it. Same thing with the Mason video. Instead, some people would watch that video and watch the Mason video and say, Smitty, without even watching it, giving up on Bijan and Mason, are we? No, we're not giving up on Mason and Bijan. Bijan's an absolute phenom.
Let him cook.
He's an absolute phenom doing Bijan things.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special message from the Bruce's mother.
Get Bijan.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
So, Mason, great job in this trade. Is this a win? It's definitely a win. Running backs are now Saquon and Breece Hall. You got JT, fantastic. Do I need a flex Taylor over people like Dell? Of course you put in Jonathan Taylor if he's ready to go. Should I pick up? And he's practicing, but we'll find out more about his week 8 availability. Pickups are Jawan Jennings, McMillan. Love McMillan, love Jennings, love Pearsall. Shepard's good, but I love Jawan probably most because I believe with Ayuk being out, he's already in a great position. And with Debo being very questionable for this week, probably out this week if I had to guess, Jawan Jennings to the moon this week. Pearsall too. Either one could go off, and McMillan's going to have a fantastic little stretch of fantasy football production. This is a guy we are super high on as a channel, and on the Patreon specifically wrote a article on this back in the offseason about how I expect there to be a week where McMillan's the top receiver because I could envision Godwin and Evans both being out for multiple games together because of age and injury history, and good God, here we are. Exactly where that article described McMillan's situation. Love all those options. Jennings probably is the safest one if we had to identify a safety angle for that potential grouping of players. Was able to trade Mason. Oh, that's the one I just read. Thank you, pal. Appreciate you. James with another $20 hauler. Hey, Smitty, I'm in first place. 5-2. Gino, Dak, Amon-Ra, Chase, Achane, Walker, Kincaid, Neighbors, Waddle, Addison, Tracy, Otten, Chase Brown. Got offered Tua for my Dak. I would rather have Dak Prescott. And also Breece McLaurin for my Walker and Neighbors. I would rather have Breece and McLaurin over Walker and Neighbors, but damn, that is close. Can I get a vote on that second one? Breece and McLaurin versus Walker and Neighbors. Let's vote on that one. That's probably the toughest question I think we've had all week. I don't think that is going to hurt you either way, like on surface level. Like, of course, one side will probably be better than the other. That's the nature of this thing. But I don't think you're making a mistake on either side of that. That's a fantastic trade. But, looking at the squad, I really like what you have. I think Breece is going to go crazy. Walker's also super underrated. We got Breece, Walker side, Breece. It's funny how some of you value one side so much more than the other, and then there's tons of people on the other side. It's pretty even. I would say there's a tiny slight lean toward Breece Hall. Just like maybe 60% to 40. Walker, Neighbors, Walker, and Neighbors. It's kind of coming back to even. Hall, Terry, there's another Hall, Terry, Walker, Neighbors. I would probably say it's trending to 50-50 now. That's a tough one, bro. That is a tough one. I'm going to say Breece Hall and Scary Terry, but that's me. Very, very close. Such a good trade. Such a good trade. I love both these RBs. I don't think you're crazy to go in either direction. The only thing I'd say is that Neighbors is in a volatile situation, one we saw play out last week. And this is what concerned me about. And I'm not saying he doesn't return to top 5, top 6 wide receiver form, but the volatility around his situation he cannot control. And even if you're the best receiver in the world, you can't get the ball if the quarterback can't deliver. It's not like any bad quarterback's going to throw it up in the vicinity. You're always going to grab it. You have to have good targets. Neighbors is going to catch 50% of his targets maybe going forward. On at least a lot of games will look like that. And you can't have productive games that way. It's not his fault. Those would not be his fault. I just think McLaurin's in a great spot. Breece is in a volatile spot, but like even last year, you saw Breece go nuts even in a bad situation. So I'm not really worried about Breece Hall like tailing off or, them sitting Breece Hall or something. I don't think that's going to happen. Receive CD, Amon-Ra, and Marvin and Kyren and Jacobs giving Achane, Neighbors, Kamara, Diggs. Williams is always doing these wild, crazy trades in this league, which is surprising because a lot of people don't trade or get trades done in smaller leagues. I believe this is a smaller league, right? This is the super team. CD Lamb, Amon-Ra, who's going to the moon, by the way, because of Jameson Williams' 2-game suspension. But that's 2 games. It's not like he's out for the year or something, but like that's Amon-Ra's going to the moon. Amon-Ra, CD Lamb, best buy low in fantasies Lamb. Marvin is concerning. Okay, I get it, but this is like throw in free fodder that Williams is getting, just tossed in, little icing on the cake in case it doesn't go stale or taste bad. Okay, so it's just icing on the cake. But Kyren, this is number 1, number 2, number 3 overall pick. Derrick Henry, Kyren Williams, Saquon Barkley. That might be the top. Those might be, not in any particular order, the top 4 overall players in fantasy. And you're getting Kyren. And I think CD's going to have cups of coffee in that territory. He's going to return, dance in there. I get it. His situation is bad. You're giving up Achane, Neighbors, Kamara, Diggs. It's a home run. It's a lambasting beyond lambastings. I think you're safe from vetoes and such because there's so many big names involved. You'll probably be okay on that front, but who the hell knows? I'd take that Kyren side by a country mile. I'd trade Mason, J-Mo, Brooks for B, Rob Jr., and Dell and Juju. I would say no. Look, J-Mo's out 2 games. It sucks, but it's only 2 games. Bye week's out of the way already, so it's not like you're going to have a 3-game stretch where you don't have him or something. And Mason's not to be thrown away for free. Brooks is not to be thrown away for free. And I'm not saying B. Rob Jr. is trash. Obviously, he's really good. He's really good. But I don't know that I'm just giving Mason away as if he can't maintain his B. Rob Jr. like value. He's the top 3 running back in the National Football League, in terms of attempts and all those categories. J-Mo is still phenomenal. They're not going to give up on him. They won't. The team won't. Brooks is, very intriguing. Dell is practically free in trade right now, so I don't look at this trade the way you might think I do because I see Dell in there. I'm buying Dell or picking him up off waivers because so many people want to drop him. Trade Kupp and Vidal for Walker. I would rather have Walker or for Terry and CMC. Trade Kupp for Terry and CMC. That's intriguing because Terry by himself is almost equivalent in some ways to Cooper Kupp, you could say, with the injury risk and the trade. And what if he's out a week because of the trade? What if he goes to a team that hasn't had a bye yet, and then Cooper Kupp serves 2 bye weeks? And he's out a week during the trade, and you don't know what what's in store there. So, I think both these trades are pretty good. I'd probably rather have Walker, but those are both damn good, and I'd probably consider both of them, I suppose. But it also depends if you need a trade, to get something cooking. Dynasty PPR, my Achane for Rashad in a 3rd rounder. Why would you trade Achane for Rashad White and a third rounder, Fernando? The answer is absolutely no. In fact,
your Bijan card has been revoked.
Look, Achan's a freaking monster, bro. And a dynasty monster at that. Offered one. And remember, Rashad White was a forgotten man until this past week when they started to use him again. But they're using all three of the RBs in a rotation, is certainly in the cards. I do think Rashad White will see increased value now that Evans is done till week 12 and Godwin's out for the year. Rashad White's going to be utilized a ton and they're going to throw to him. I get that. But that doesn't increase his dynasty value to the same degree. And to start comparing him using second and third round draft selection fodder doesn't make any sense at all. So no on that one. I'm being harsh on the trade, not you. Okay, I'm just being passionate about the side that I want to stand on. Offer one, Mike Jacobs and Devontae Smith for Neighbors. Offer one. Okay, Devontae Smith and Jacobs. I take Neighbors. Trying to get Pearsall or Pittman added to Neighbors. I take it without it, but offer two, Chase Brown for Brooks and 40 fab. I don't know that one, that could go either way, so I don't really care so much about that second trade because we're doing a lot of guesswork there. Because Brooks, you don't know what he is, and Chase Brown, there's some concern that we didn't see the same production for 1 week, but we can't freak out about that, right? Do I trade Kyren for Brian Robinson Jr. and Neighbors with the Kupp news? I don't know that you would. Look, think about it this way, my guy Jay. You're freaking out over Kupp rumors, number one. Number two, Puka's going to be back no matter what. So the situation where it's feeding Kyren top 1 to 2, 1 to 3 running back numbers doesn't have Kupp or Puka in the equation. So you're going to get Kyren and Puka back, or Cooper Kupp and Puka back, or at least Puka back. We're not running from Kyren Williams like there's some sort of devastating news that he can't maintain what he's doing without either wide receiver right now. He's going to get one of them back at least, maybe both. No way I'm freaking out over that. However, it's not a horrible trade. I like Neighbors a lot. If it's redraft, I'm still saying no. I'm still probably saying hell no. But I understand the concept. It's not horrible. But Cooper Kupp news doesn't do anything to Kyren Williams' value. Do you think the Rams are going to tank this season? I don't think they're trying to. I think McVay, no coach tries to tank because his job is on the line. Even if the ownership or the brass upstairs wants to get ready for the next year, this is still a competitive team. And McVay is in a division where there's still a lot of competition for not only a playoff spot, like a wild card spot. This is not something where it's done and the division is set. Like let me pull up the standings and do a screenshot of the West and just show you what the NFC West looks like, because it's not out of hand. It's not out of hand at all. The Rams are 2-4. They're at the bottom of the division. Granted, like that does suck, right? Who likes to be at the bottom of the division? But bro, they are 2 games out. They're 2 games. Seattle's 4-3. Seattle doesn't have 5 wins, 6 wins. This is what the division looks like in the West. Cardinals 3-4, Niners 3-4, Rams 2-4, Seattle 4-3. This is a very close race still. Anyone could win this race. Not to mention there's still wild card shots everywhere. You've got in the South, 4-3 is the top team, Tampa Bay, who just lost everybody. Right below them, the Saints are 2-5. The Carolina Panthers are 1-6. In the North is probably the biggest problematic division of teams that could consume all 3 of the wild card spots. The Vikings are 5-1. The Lions are 5-1. The Packers are 5-2, and the Bears are 4-2. So all your wild card spots potentially getting consumed there. And then you've got Dallas and New York up in the East, and Philly at 4-2. So I would say a wild card spot is going to be tough. Their best course of action is to try and go after that mother flipping division win, to be honest with you. I think the wild card spots will be harder to get than the division, but you're really close. This is not something where you give up. as a coach. McVay's a very good coach. They've been without Kupp and Puka, and they're hanging on. Like, I think that you get Kupp and Puka back, this is a team that could win the division still. 4-3, 10 team. Allen, Jefferson, Higgins, Kyren, Dobbins, Brian Thomas Jr., Laporta, White, Worthy, Shakir. Any moves with this team? I'd probably say I like it a lot. Dobbins was a good sell high before last week. I was afraid what happened would happen and people would not be able to get what they want coming out of this week 7 contest where Harbaugh shows is just an awful, in my opinion, an awful offense creator. I'm not saying he can't coach. I'm not trying to say he can't still, navigate the season and have a decent, a decent-ish outcome. They're 3-3. They're almost in last in the division. If the Raiders weren't 2-5 and probably not looking at a win anytime soon, this will be the bottom of the barrel in the division type of team. Denver can be caught, but KC's not going to be caught. And I think there's too many great teams in the North and honestly in the East still, depending on how the Jets and the Miami Dolphins rebound from everything, that a wild card spot's going to be tough for Harbaugh. Harbaugh's not making the playoffs this year, in my opinion. And Harbaugh's running a Mickey Mouse offense. He built a Mickey Mouse offense. He's wasting Herbert away. Herbert's, as I always say, a 200-mile-an-hour race car that is being asked to enter a 200-mile-an-hour race, where every other race car's racing at 199, 204, 202, and Herbert can go, let's say, 202 miles per hour. He could be in the top 5 or 6, potentially talent-wise, engine-wise, speed-wise in this race. But Harbaugh goes into the engine, puts a restrictor on the engine, on the gas pedal, a governor of sorts that makes this race car go 97 miles per hour. And Herbert's not allowed to drive faster. And Harbaugh's shoving him out into a race with 200-mile-an-hour race cars and saying, do your worst. And Herbert is absolutely wasting away. As I said would be the case in the offseason. And if only his dead cap would have allowed him to be traded to the Minnesota Vikings so that Herbert could get his full potential on display throwing to JJ, that would have been unbelievable. And I'm not saying JJ McCarthy is some sort of lost cause by any means whatsoever. I'm not trying to paint that picture. But JJ McCarthy would have been far better off in the offense that his former coach in college is running, because that is where I think he would have fit in, and Harbaugh would have loved using JJM the way he used him in college, and Herbert could have unleashed the dragon over in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson. And dead cap stood in the way of that situation. I think that trade would have been 100% in full motion if there wasn't a massive, I don't know, what is it, $90 to $100 million in dead cap, I think it was, or something crazy for Herbert to be moved. 4-3. So with this team right here, Allen, Jefferson, Higgins, Kyren, Dobbins, I'm trying to move Dobbins if I can. I'm very tempted to use Rachaad White off of the big game. Rachaad White and Dobbins for one player. Thomas Jr., if the price is right on like a Lamb or a Hill, you could do Dobbins and Thomas Jr. for one of the receivers that we're talking about over and over and over like that. But it'd have to be a big dog, because Thomas Jr. is right up there with him. He's having a cup of coffee in the tier right below the CeeDee Lambs. But I would definitely take a chance on CeeDee Lamb for that. I think, Higgins is also somebody you could throw in, like a Higgins and Thomas Jr. for a wide receiver needy team that has CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill, and you want to go after a big name player. You are running a risk that Tyreek Hill does not return to form, but I believe he is a great gamble for people to make. My chase for Achane and JT, I take Achane and JT if I need a change. Yeah, and I'm not saying I don't do that if I don't need a change. It depends on my lineup, but that's a lot of talent to get for one player. Nico for Achane, I'd rather have Achane 5-2. I get it. Not hurting at RB, I get it. But Nico being still out for a couple games doesn't make sense for me to make this trade and assume he's going to 100% be okay, because you don't fully know if he will. You're on projections and timetables, not for sure he's back. His injury's good to go. Like, you don't know. He could come back and be slow rolled back in. Tyreek for my Neighbors. I'd probably rather have Neighbors by a hair right now. Just, it's safer, and he's still top 5 to 6 capable. So I'd probably say Neighbors, but I do love the idea of trading for Tyreek Hill. I think anybody trying to make a move like that is smart. Jay with a $20 hauler gets immediate attention. Jay, appreciate you. If I traded for Tyreek, my starting lineup would be Hurts, Kyron, Gibbs, AJB, Tyreek, and Njoku, Kenneth Walker, flex. This team could win any league. Jay, this team would be a remarkable team. Thank you for the $20 hauler that anybody would drool over taking into battle every single day. So excellent job if you pull off this trade, and your team would be absolutely fire. Traded DK and Dell for Tyreek. I don't hate that at all with the injury to DK being week to week now. I like that trade. That trade's fantastic. Open roster spot. Pick up Pearsall or Coleman. I'd probably lean toward Coleman. The waiver wire board, if anybody needs to see it, we're unlike any show. We show the waiver wire every single show, multiple times per show, and it evolves. Even with waivers processing tonight, we'll probably, in most cases, right? I'm going to go into week number 8, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, showing this board, changing this board, moving it around, understanding that the top guys will be scooped up tonight or tomorrow in your leagues. I get that, but we're still organizing it because it helps shape your ad drops throughout the week. You still have guys you got to pick up, right? You got injuries that happen midweek. You got things you didn't think about, uncontrollable things, and you still need a waiver board every single day. So that's what we do here on the channel. So you can see Coleman, Jennings, Pearsall, they're all neck and neck. McMillan, they're all neck and neck. I'd even say McMillan right here. They're all so close. I can't. You got to just make a call. I would say Jennings is safest. Coleman's got tons of upside. They're very, very, very close to even. Appreciate you, Pistol. Nice job with the squad. Absolute insane squad, bro. 12-man league. Only QB and tight end right now. My only QB and tight end right now are AR5 and Laporta. That's scary. I'm a lock to get one of Bo Nix or Hunter Henry off the waiver wire. I would prioritize the quarterback, bro, because Laporta's fine. Like, his bye week is out of the way. He's a top 3 potential quarterback go forward. AR5 is not only an injury risk every single week he's on the field, you don't know when they could pull him, for Flacco. I traded away Higgins and Hunt for CeeDee Lamb today. I think you crushed that trade. There's still value on that other side. I'm not saying that guy got ripped to oblivion, but I definitely take your trade every single time. Your side of the trade. Good job. Hunt was free off waivers. Yeah, way to work the waiver wire and improve your squad. Matt, I would have done that trade 11 times out of 10. Fantastic job. If Kupp is on the trade block, then wouldn't that lead to a low volume for Kupp until a deal is done or until he cleared? No, because McVay's not going to be told to limit Cooper Kupp and get rid of him and trade him. I think if a trade was going to be processed, you'd see him off the field and passing physicals and things like that. But I don't think that this is something that you still got to go win. You're still getting paid as a coach to do your job. I think McVay is not the kind of guy that's going to get pushed around by top level suits that are saying you got to give Kupp less work. I don't see that happening. I think that they're being careful with Kupp no matter what this week. I don't think it's trade related. And again, let's wait and hear from McVay and ownership potentially on this, because this is coming from Diana Rossini. I'm not saying Diana Rossini isn't good at what she does. There have been times before where this kind of stuff looks like it's happening and it's not. So I'm only hearing it from that source essentially. So 12-team PPR, start 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 1 flex. Should I trade Diggs for Debo? I would take Debo personally. And then you say here also trade Gibbs plus Najee for CeeDee Lamb and JMO. I'm not trading Gibbs. I want Lamb, but I'm not trading Gibbs. If I was getting like, and especially JMO suspended 2 games, if I was getting like JT and Gibbs or Tyreek Hill and Gibbs, then I'm trading. I'm sorry, Lamb and JT or Lamb and Walker or Lamb and something like out of this world, I'd trade Gibbs. But Gibbs is going in the top 5, 6 overall of drafting today. Like I said last week when people said, he's your backup, Smitty. He's a backup. No, he's not a backup. Jahmyr Gibbs, there's data behind it. There's data. There's algorithmic data that tells you why Gibbs is a top 5 running back. It's not just me running my mouth. It's science. but the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. And let me tell you another thing. Like the Gibbs trading, why are we trading Gibbs right now? Why is anybody exploring trading Gibbs right now? I get if you need to divide and conquer. I already said I'd trade anybody. But like this whole thing of like Achane and Gibbs and these guys are on the rise. Tua's coming back. Like, why are we not seeing Tyreek Hill as one of the best buys in fantasy, period? Why are we not seeing Achane as Achane was remarkable. This is what tonight's show is going to be about. Achane was remarkable in this game. Then he just wasn't used because the game script got out of hand. Everything just went to crap. And Tua's coming back. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, Miami Mike. Yeah, I have a question for you. Is Tua coming back? Yep, he is. Okay, he's not wearing a Guardian cap. He's angry. He's tired of people even asking him about his health like he's some baby. Yeah, he's upset. He's going to go full go. Okay. How does he look? He looks pretty good. Him and Tyreek are. Okay. Enough said. Appreciate you. Miami Mike. I just talked to Miami Mike. Trust me, bro. Per source. You heard it here. If everybody else can break the trust me, bro, per source, I can too. I just got off the phone. Evidence. Show this to your friends. Smitty actually talked to Miami Mike on the show through the magic phone. And according to Miami Mike McDaniel, not only is Tua Tagovailoa back, and not only is his connection with Hill reestablished to the top 5 wide receiver degree, Achane's back. Achane's back.
Let him cook.
His haters call him small,
but he is 9 feet tall.
Achane is the man.
Tony Pollard. So it was someone asked for my DK Metcalf for their Tony Pollard and Bucky Irving. You could go either way on this. DK's week to week. I'd rather hold DK personally. I still think he's a top 10 wide receiver per start. T, appreciate you. 5-2 in a 10-man PPR. Got offered AJ Brown bye week out of the way. JT and Bowers for Tyreek, Neighbors, and Pitts and Pollard. Wow. JT, Bowers, and AJ Brown. I get it's pretty even, bro, to be honest with you. I mean, AJ Brown and a back and healthy JT, which I think we're really close to, and we'll probably see him play this week, but there's still a lot of ambiguity around that situation. Limited practicing is what he's, slated for all week. I love Bowers. Fantastic. Pitts and Bowers, you could almost, if you wanted to, just remove them from the situation to give clarity. Tyreek, bye week out of the way. AJ Brown, bye week out of the way. Very arguable players going forward with Tua back. Neighbors versus JT. I lean toward Neighbors. I think maybe I take... Wow, this is so tough. I think I take the neighbors Tyreek side for upside if you need like a big swing, but this is very dead even. I think anybody that says one side crushes the other doesn't know what they're talking about. Jennings, Coleman, Tillman, pick one. Jennings for me. I think Coleman and Jennings are really close, but I'm going to take Jennings. Kamara, too much for Lamb. No, I'd rather have Lamb. Kamara, MHJ, too much for Lamb. And no, I'd rather have Lamb by a little bit. Reed, Monty for Lamb. I'd rather have probably Lamb. But that one's costly. I get it. There's panic around Lamb. I'm just willing to run into the flames personally on this one. Trade Nixon, Dell for Tyreek in a super flex. I have AR5 and Mahomes. I personally would take the chance. Nix is nice, but he's nothing great in Superflex. Like sometimes you wonder if your non-quarterback is going to outscore him. So I'm definitely doing that trade. I'd take Tyreek Hill over Nix in my Superflex spot, to be honest, for sure. Smitty, would you do Garrett Wilson and MHJ for B-Rob and Nico? If you can afford to wait, I would rather have I'd rather have B-Rob and Nico. If you can afford to wait, and I hate to say that, it is what it is. Bottom line, it is what it is. Matto with the $20 super chat, getting immediate attention and jumping the line straight to the front. Matt, appreciate you dropping the $20 wad. 12-team non-PPR redraft. I'm 2-5. Start 1 QB, 2 running back, 3 wide receivers. JD5, Dak, Gibbs, Achane, DK, Deontay, Dell, Coleman, Wandell, McBride. Was offered his Puka for my McBride. Do I do it? I think that's a very tough call. I don't know who your backup tight end is, though. I don't think you have one listed. So, I mean, it does depend on what you're going to be able to do there. I probably take Puka over McBride in your wide receiver situation. I think it's a smart move. However, you could be a week before Puka's back. I almost wish you could have him offer this trade, and as soon as the week starts, you hit the accept button at kickoff. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can agree to that up front, like, hey, offer it and it's a done deal, but I want to play with McBride one more week, because I don't even know if, you're sending me a guy that's going to even be back next week. So, but that's kind of the way my mind is working with this one. I like it, but I don't like it for this week, and you're 2-5. So maybe if he's like 4 wins, he could understand that you need McBride for the start, and then you execute the trade as soon as the kickoff happens. Smitty 4-3, 14 PPR. Love Chase McBride. Or no, Love Chase Bateman. Mostert, Chandler, Kincaid, Likely, J-Mo, Davis, Tucker. Trade Chase and Mostert for Kyron. I think I'd probably say I'd rather have Jamar Chase and Mostert in your, let me see, 14-team PP. It's PPR. It's 14-team. Your bench, you have J-Mo. You have Chase, Bateman, Mostert. A league. Oh God, this is so. You need a running back badly. I'd probably say give me Kyron. Bye week out of the way. Makes sense to get Kyron. Try and get something else, but that's a tough call. Give me Kyron in your situation. I mean, you're creating one hole by plugging another hole in the boat, but I think maybe the hole that you're plugging is a little bigger. Traded away B-Rob Jr., Ferguson, and Shakir for Gibbs and Ingram a couple weeks ago. There should be a warrant out for my arrest soon. I agree, Johnny. I think he absolutely blasted him. Gibbs. Smitty, Gibbs is a backup. He's a backup, Smitty. He's playing second fiddle to Monty. 6-man league. Amon-Ra, Mayfield, Gibbs, Hall, Mixon, start, and sit question. Njoku or Andrews? Give me Njoku for now. It's a rotation in Baltimore. It'll be likely this week. Watch. And McLaurin or Kupp. Without JD5. Maybe I go Kupp. Also, where do you rank St. Brown? Top 5 until, for 2 weeks at least. Top 4, top 5. But he's still top 6 to 10 every single week, no matter whether J-Mo's in the lineup or not. But Kupp this week, my guy. Unless he's limited or something, we'll find out more. Would you do either Dak and Henry and Terry for their JD5, HN, and JJ? Dak, Henry, Terry for JD5, HN, and JJ. I take JD5, HN, and JJ all day long. Or Hurts, Mixon, Neighbors. That's good too. That's a good one. I'd probably say JD5, HN, JJ. But I'd take either one probably. Yeah. Also, my MHJ plus Madison plus McMillan, Pittman for their Mahomes, Dell, Bigsby. I would take Mahomes, Dell, Bigsby. DVO, those are both really good trades, I think. Nice work cooking those up. Those are complicated, but very, very nicely done. I'm 3-4. Allen, JJ, Garrett Wilson. What do I do for trades? I would probably look to maybe get rid of Hubbard, not because I don't believe in him. Same thing with Najee, but because there's good trade value right now. Evans, damn, Nico and Evans on IR. You got crushed. I mean, you're trying to use Najee and Evans for a wide receiver. You maybe look at Evans for Puka and you say, I'll bite the bullet. I mean, you got to look into this, right? Nico, I'd probably wait on. I don't trade him. But if I could get rid of Hubbard or Najee for a Tyreek Hill or something like that, one of them, hard to give up both of them. You could play Stevenson or give up Stevenson and Hubbard or Najee and Stevenson. But you could try and go after a wide receiver like Hill or a Debo. Debo might be good as well. Debo and Puka are probably good targets for you, Aaron, just because the owners, you can't buy guys popping off that aren't like in problematic situations. But at 3-4, you can afford to play with 1 week of fire to get those players. Smitty, would you do Garrett Wilson and MHJ for B-Rob and Nico? I'd rather have, I think I just answered this one. I'd rather have B-Rob and Nico. Kyle, thank you for the super chat. I think that was the same one. I just put it up twice. Trade advice or dropping any of the following players for the wire pickups. 2-5, Ertz, Sutton, Roshan, Wright, Singletary. No one's trading for these guys. But I would definitely say I'm grabbing. I mean, this is a vague question, Green. I don't know who's available on waivers. If Jennings is out there, if Bigsby, obviously Bigsby's available in just like 25 to 28% of leagues. He's the top pickup of the week. Like, you obviously know that. If I'm looking at, let's say, a Goodson or a Wright or a Jennings, a Coleman, a Pearsall, I mean, I like all those guys over probably Singletary, probably over Douglas, probably over even Chandler. Even though I like Chandler, I'm not excited about Chandler right now, so I'm not gonna hold on to him over a productive player like Jennings. Let's say half PPR Dynasty, half redraft. What? Like, you just mean it's like a keeper? Keep starters, bench, and 2025 rookies go into a 10-round draft. Buck, this is hard to fathom, but as far as like what values we'll have, Pat, HN, Masonite, CMC, Chase, Kupp, and Njoku, Chuba, bench worthy. Trade pick Biggs and worthy for MHJ. Trade pick Biggs. Buck, you're trying to fit too much in one question. Trade pick Biggs and worthy for MHJ. I don't know what pick we're talking about, but yes, I would rather have MHJ. I'm not giving up on MHJ in Dynasty or long-term keeper. I definitely buy. I love Worthy. Bigsby's nice, but Bigsby's got like questionable Dynasty value. Like, let's be honest. 14-team full PPR, 3-4. Hurts, Barkley, Hunt, Chuba, Devontae Smith, Pickens, Olave, Downs. Trade suggestions. I'm probably going to say with this squad, Barkley and Hurts is phenomenal. Your receiving crew is kind of shaky. That's where I'm working. I'm trying to get a Hill. I'm trying to do an Olave and Pickens for Hill and something. I'm trying to do a Chuba and Olave for Hill and something. I'm trying to do a Devontae Smith and Chuba for maybe a player like, I probably ride with Hunt on this one. Or maybe you trade Hunt and Pickens for an HN or something like that, but then you're really hurting a wide receiver. Your receivers you want to go after and attack would be Debo, because he's problematic. You've got a 3-4 record. You can play with fire a little bit, like I say. You go after Puka Nacua, who's problematic, 1 week at least out. You go after a player like Hill, who's had problems and people still doubt him for some reason. Those are your 3 wide receiver targets. Your running back targets for Hunt or Chuba, if you're trying to swap them out, would be HN and probably JT. And I don't think Walker's, going to be free, but he does seem tradable right now. I see a lot of Walker incoming trades for a lot of you, which means that his owners want to sell him off of probably the lack of volume and the productive scoring that he's doing on the low volume. It seems like Walker is somebody a lot of people want to get rid of off of the touchdowns. And like they're playing with the house's money and they want to get rid of it. It seems like that's the way Walker's being treated. I'm 3-4 and I have Njoku and Bowers. What should I go for? Worthy and something. A Puka Nacua, a Deebo Samuel, a potential JT upgrade from one of your RBs. A McLaurin because he doesn't have JD5 right now and people are overreactive Rodgers and Oscars right now. What should I do? Team is Geno, Amon-Ra, CD, Kyron, Achane. I get rid of Geno the first chance I get. I'd try and upgrade that. I go after Mahomes. I go after Kyler. I go after Dak Prescott potentially. Kyler. Oh, you got Kyler Murray on the bench. Yeah, Kyler Murray. You're fine. Get Kyler in your lineup is what I would tell you. So Kyler Murray, Amon-Ra, CD, Kyron, Achane. I think you sit on this team unless you're moving, let's say, Dobbins and Cooper together, Bigsby and Dobbins, Bigsby and Cooper for one Tyreek Hill, for one player like JT, for a player like Kamara. Kamara's going to be tough to trade for now because he's in the news. People are doubting him. He gets a contract extension, and all of a sudden people are going to be like, maybe Kamara is trusted. Maybe people like this guy. Like, it's so weird how that happens. People all of a sudden don't want to trade Kamara now. 10-team, half PPR, 2 QB. Team is Hurts and JD5, CD, AJ Brown, Amari Cooper. Great team. Achane. Is that French for Achane? Achane. Chase Brown, Kraft. Also Nico IR. Trade offer. JD5, Amari, Chase Brown, Nico for Mahomes, Kelsey, Jamar Chase. Wow. JD5, Amari, Chase Brown, Nico for Mahomes, Kelsey, Jamar Chase. I probably say you take the Mahomes, Kelsey, Jamar Chase side. Partly because, look, JD5's out a week. Amari Cooper is still somebody I don't know is going to be super ultra consistent. Chase Brown, same thing, love him, but Nico Collins, you don't know when he's officially coming back. You just have timetables. I'm taking the Jamar Chase side. I also think Kelsey and Mahomes are going to get cooking way more than people expect. And that's me. That's the way I look at it, and I'm doing it that way. I'm going that way. You go whatever way you want to. If any of you are Mahomes haters, I get it. I understand it. I'm not trying to convince anybody anymore. I'm going to sit back and watch Mahomes retain some value and be a good buy low. Is he going to be the QB I wanted him to be? No. Is he going to be a top 5 QB? I do think he will be at some point this season or right around there. And that's a good buy low for somebody in a bind. Got offered my Achane for Hill. I would take probably Achane. I have Nico, Worthy, Downs, Juju. Running backs are Kyron, Achane, JT. I think because you can start all 3 of those RBs, I assume. I'm trading Brooks or Bigsby with maybe Worthy or something to try and get Hill or upgrade my wide receivers. Go Debo, go Puka, versus tear down the running backs. I think you could still get your wide receiver without tearing down your RBs. This one's from XDS. 10-team standard scoring. JD5, Mahomes, Bijan, Achane, Swift, McBride, Muth. Who should I target in trades? I'd probably say I shop because you got Bijan, JD5, Mahomes, Bijan, Achane. Because you're good there, I'm probably shopping Swift right now. Swift and Devontae Smith for a Hill or above. I'm obviously going after Lamb. Swift and Marv, same thing. BT, probably hold him because you got other pieces you can move around. But would I trade BT and Swift for CD Lamb? Absolutely. In fact, I do try that. XDS. And then I take BTJ out of it if I'm going after Hill. TP31 got team of buy low is 3-4. Mahomes, Bijan, Achane, Mason, Monty, McLaurin, MHJ, Jaden Reed, Dell. It's a good team though. Would I trade one of my tight ends? I guess if you could. It's a weird tight end market, I guess. Running back 4 running back max. That sucks. Your team's good though. Would I trade Mason now for Hill? Yes. Would I trade Mason now for even a Kupp right now? Yes, I would. Monty, I'd be very tempted to roll with Bijan and Achane and trade Monty for that wide receiver as well. Your receivers aren't bad though. McLaurin and Reed, and then MHJ in your third. I still believe in MHJ. It's just very disappointing that he's not exploding right now because he should be on the field. He should be. Kyler missed him again. Didn't see him running straight down the field for a 40-plus yard touchdown. Do I start Kupp or Reed? I'm starting probably Reed this week if I had to choose. I'm not giving up on Reed by any means. He's a top 12 wide receiver, top 12 to 15 wide receiver. I do love Kupp though. I'd probably say we're beholden to the Kupp news though, Chris. Maybe Kupp enters this equation like later in the week where he's unhampered, and then I am starting Cooper Kupp. Trade Hunt for Geno for McLaurin, Adams, Carr. Still have Daniels and Love. Oh, okay. So Hunt and Geno for McLaurin, Adams, Carr. I'd take McLaurin, Adams, Carr for sure, especially with Hunt being on borrowed time, bro. That's a great trade. That's a fantastic trade. I'm not saying Hunt definitely goes away, but he certainly could have an expiration date. Trade Achane for Rashad and Debo in a third. I'd rather have Achane. Debo's an older player. Rashad White doesn't have the dynasty value people think he does after one game. Let me just tell you that right now. My Hurts and Garrett Wilson for Dak and JJ. God, I would probably say give me... Damn, bro. I'd probably say give me Dak and JJ. I feel the reason I say this is I feel like Dak is going to do better down the stretch, and JJ crushes Garrett Wilson, unfortunately. Was able to get Gibbs and Sutton for H, and you can maneuver into a better quarterback with other trades where you can't for JJ. I think you're still trades away from getting the QB you need, but I think Dak's okay, but you could go get Mahomes for pennies on the dollar right now. Was able to get Gibbs and Sutton for Achane and MHJ. Was able to get Gibbs and Sutton for Achane and MHJ. I love Gibbs. That's a great trade. Nice job, bro. Nice job. We got a $50 hauler from Low Kane. We got Carmine with a $20 hauler. I'm sorry, I just saw these $20+ haulers come in. These get immediate attention. I'm sorry about making you wait even a little bit for those super chats. Let me fix my alerts because for some reason they are still not popping off. And they are very helpful to see these $20 haulers and $50 haulers come in. Low Kane with a 50 watt. You go to the moon.
To the moon.
You go to Mars.
To Saturn.
And you go to Saturn, pal. Appreciate you, Low Kane, dropping it. Low Kane, you're still here, right? My boy Low Kane's in the house still. Got an offer for my Kupp, Tua, and Mike Evans for A.J. Brown, Addison, and Kelsey. Do I pull the trigger? I'm going to say, man. I'm going to say Evans being, I don't know that I do this. I love A.J. Brown, man. I love A.J. Brown. He's probably the best player in the deal right now, given the injury to Evans and everything. But Kupp is back this week. He may be limited. He may not be limited. We don't really know yet. So, chat, can I get a vote for Low Kane? Low Kane, you still in the house? Get a vote for Low Kane. Would you rather have Kupp, Tua, Mike Evans, or A.J. Brown, Addison, Kelsey? The other thing, too, is I don't know who your tight end is. Kelsey's very much feels hit and miss going forward, but there's still some upside. I'd probably say... Let's see what the chat says on this one. Let's let it simmer for a bit on the chat. Chat, please vote. I need all your help. I need at least 10, 15 replies. Kupp and Tua and Mike Evans or A.J. Brown, Addison, Kelsey. We don't have a lot of information on this, but let's give a vote. AJ B side, AJ B side, AJ B side. AJ B side, AJ B. There you go. I don't think we even need to go further than that. I trust the chat on this one. I do kind of like the Kupp side because I think Evans does bring you that top 10 wide receiver value, once he returns. But it is kind of a wait. And Kelsey's still in a very, very bleak, tight end market. Low Kane, you still here? I don't know if Low Kane's still here. Appreciate you, Low Kane. Low Kane, appreciate you, my guy. Hopefully Low Kane's here to hear his answer. I give MHA, I get back Evans and Tank Dell. I probably say I do this for the long-term value of it if you can hold off. And this is redraft. If it's Dynasty, I still fully believe in MHJ. But I do think Tank Dell and MHJ are in the same boat, and I think Tank Dell does get used this week. I know we keep saying that, but I think they're going to throw it to him, and everyone's going to bench him, and he's going to go crazy. That's the way fantasy works. But Evans will be back at some point, so even if he comes back week 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, that's Mike Evans for 6 weeks. So I'd probably say the Mike Evans side, Carmine, and thank you for the $20 hauler. Carmine to the mother flipping moon with the 20 wad, the rainbow shot, the 20 wad. Dre, 5-2, love Barkley. No, Baker. Love Baker, James Cook, Chuba, Brooks, Najee, Bigsby, Pacheco, JJ, DK, Reed, Deontay. Got a trade of DK for Achane. I would take Achane. Achane and run. And then past that, you're trying to get rid of maybe trying to get rid of a Brooks and Najee together for 1 RB if I could. I guess you could hold Chuba and Brooks. You could trade. You got a pretty good. You could just say, you know what? Let's roll with Chuba. No, let's roll with Bigsby and Cook and trade Chuba, Brooks, or Najee, or both of them for 1 RB or for 1 wide receiver. I think Tyreek Hill, Lamb, and they make sense. Najee for Debo makes sense. Najee and something for Tyreek Hill makes a lot of sense. I'd give up Deontay in a heartbeat. I'd give up. But yeah, I mean that move DK for Achane's great. And if you do make that move, which I hope you do, then you can really say, you know what? Let's focus on wide receiver now. Let's go Najee, Brooks. You've got Achane and Cook. Get Ray Davis. Trade Najee or Brooks and Chuba with maybe a Reed for a Hill or a Lamb or something like that. And Debo would be good for Najee, like I keep saying to people. Trade for that hampered player like Debo right now that people don't want to wait for. My London for Kenneth Walker and Brian Thomas Jr. I would take Brian Thomas Jr. and Walker and run. Absolutely run. That's a fantastic side of the trade. Do I need to make moves? Kyron, Mixon, AJB, Amari, TJ, Devontae Smith, and Steele. I love how Steele's in the mix here for your top 9 guys. I would say no. I think your team looks pretty good. There's not a lot of movement you can, and it seems like it's a small bench league. You know, it's very 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 thinned out. I'd probably say that I am very happy with your squad. Would I be tempted to move somebody? I suppose later. Let's wait and see. If I could trade Mixon for JT and Hill and give up another player or something and make that 2 for 2, of course I'd do something like that. So you could explore buying Hill and JT low, even a Kyron for that offer we got the onset of the show was Walker and was it Neighbors? Walker and Neighbors for Jamar Chase or something like that. You could explore that for Kyron in this size league, and I'd be okay with that. So maybe you try and get the best 2 for 1. You get 2 players for Kyron. Bring it to us. Don't do it. Bring it to us and we'll vote on it. But your team's really good. I think you can get it done with that team. It's really good. Traded Hunt and Amari Cooper for CD. Smash. Smash. Should I flip 1 for an RB? I have Gibbs, Jones, and Najee. I would definitely consider it. Hill, Neighbors, and Lamb, and Nico. I would, you know what? I'm going to say Gibbs, Aaron Jones. I'm going to say Najee and I mean Najee and a Hill, Najee and a Debo, Najee and a Kupp, Najee and a Puka, maybe, and leave everything else. I don't think I'm flipping those receivers. Those receivers are your strong suit. Missed a super chat. Love the show, Smitty. Eric, I don't think I did. I'm going to look for you. We're going to send you on a lap if you're wrong. Silva, missed a super chat. Love the show, Smitty. I only have this chat from you, my man. And then this one right here, which I believe we went over. 10-team happy pair, 2 QB. Hurts, JD5, CD, Kraft. Also, Nico IR. Trade offered JD5, Amari, Chase Brown, Nico, Mahomes. Cut. Yeah, we just went over that. Silva, we just went over that. Silva just set us back about a minute because I had to go look that up and leave all my screens. Silva, you know better than this. Appreciate you. Hold on, let me get all set up again. Every time someone says I missed their super chat and they're wrong, they're going on a lap. We have to. I know they're super chatting. I don't mean to sound like a total douche, but it does make me get out of everything that I'm in, and it sets us back a good minute or two. And then I've missed 2 or 3 more super chats to roll in, and now we've got a big backlog. I'm sorry. I didn't see the game, but what the hell happened with Devontae Smith? I don't know. I think players have bad games. Locane's in the house. Locane, did you see my response? Locane, let me know if you saw my response. Devontae Smith's a good buy low, Kirkwood. He really is. He still is. Trade London and Bigsby for James Conner and BTJ. I'd probably rather have London and Bigsby, bro. But, arguable for sure. Sorry, Smitty, was Pickens, Worthy, and Bigsby for MHJ. Pickens, Worthy, and Bigsby for MHJ. In Dynasty, yes. In redraft, I'd rather have Pickens, Worthy, and Bigsby. I don't know what the question was, because it has to be contained in the super chat. I don't have your old super chat up, but I think I answered that in a way that should help you. Do I drop Corum or Vidal for Wright? I'd probably rather have Wright than either one, and I'd keep Corum at 5 Kyron. But either one for Wright should suffice. Wright looks pretty good. If they need to use him, he's gonna be an absolute monster. Wright looks very, very good. He runs super tough. Locane, did you get my response? I think Locane is in the house still. Let's see here. Non-PPR 2 and 5 QB Allen JD5 tried to trade before the injury. Running back Barkley, Gibbs, Ford, wide receiver DK, Debo, Mooney. Don't want to move running backs, but might have to. Can it be saved? DK, Debo, man, you are crushed at wide receiver this week. Just absolutely obliterated. Look, you still can trade JD5. He's out of game. What's somebody gonna do? Like, really? No one's wanting JD5. No one's wanting Allen. That's crazy. I'd probably say you're kind of stuck. I don't know that I'm getting rid of Debo or DK. You're 2 and 5. It's scary, I know, but unless you can take like Debo or DK and turn it into like Reed and something, or Devontae Smith, who everybody's panicking on, that's a good Tyreek Hill. Cooper Kupp still banged up. Like, maybe you're going in that direction, and to get that done, you might have to go like Andrews scored 2 touchdowns. You might have to give up Andrews and just go rogue at tight end, pick up somebody and trade Andrews and DK for a playing wide receiver. Andrews and Debo for a playing wide receiver, even if it's a Cooper Kupp, especially if it's a Tyreek Hill, and go that route to get yourself a solidified receiver. I don't know that I'm using Barkley or Gibbs or Allen. I'd throw JD5 and one of those wide receivers together to get a Tyreek Hill, or obviously above. I know it's hard. I know a lot of people won't trade for QBs, but I don't know how somebody wouldn't want JD5 or Allen. I think that you just need to get the right offer and do a 2-for-1, the right 2-for-1. I have Jordan Mason and Jake Ferguson, but I've been sent a trade for my Saquon Barkley and Bucky. He will send me Josh Jacobs, Achane, and Hawkinson. Absolutely do not trade Saquon Barkley. I trade Mason for Hill or player. Like, even a Debo's tempting with his situation. No way I'm trading Barkley. 4 and 3, struggling a bit. QB, JD5, Hurts, Kyron, Gibbs, Monty, Neighbors, Debo, Reed, Dell, Pitts. Any moves? Honestly, I think, other than in a 1 QB, trading one of those QBs, which you got to keep trying, I love this team. I even love it with Debo and Reed. I love it. Neighbors, I think this team is fine. I think you're going to create too many holes by trying to move it around. I think you stand strong. Unless you're trading Monty for Hill or for Lamb, like Monty and Reed for Lamb and something, which I would contemplate, just get something back, or specifically one of the QBs with Reed for Lamb, one of the QBs with Reed for Hill. Like, those moves would be solid, channel. But that's probably it. I'm standing down on some of the things that you might think I would normally say with that team, because I like the team. Lamar, Kupp, B-Rob, Kraft for Hurts. I assume this is Brian Robinson Jr. We don't call Bijan B-Rob, so B-Rob Jr., I assume that's Brian Robinson Jr. Lamar, Kupp, Brian Robinson Jr., Kraft for Hurts, Walker, Juju, Ingram. I'd probably say, I probably would say, I can't give up Lamar Kupp. I'm going to say Lamar Kupp. Hurts and Walker is solid, but I'm going to say Lamar Kupp. Lamar's playing too high of a level. I think you're selling him low. You should be getting the world for him right now. Trade depth, left myself kind of short. Kyler, Brees, Mixon, AJB, Neighbors, McBride. Have to flex Warren, Tracy, and Ridley. Any moves or stay put? Explore a Brees or a Mixon for 2 players, but then you got to bring it to us. I think your team's still very good. AJB, Neighbors, McBride. I know you got a thin, depth feeling going on here, but like if you trade Brees, what 2 players are you getting? If you trade Mixon, what 2 players are you getting? It has to be a Hill and JT for like Brees. It has to be something of that level of magnitude, or it's not something I'm considering. I'd rather ride it out with this. Keep hitting the waiver wire. There are guys that are popping up that are still very, very solid on the waivers that are like Jennings and things like that. You can still, if you stay on top of the waivers until probably week 11, you still can find those guys. Like Pearsall and Jennings are huge right now. Coleman are huge. Traded Bijan, Higgins, and Adams for CD, MHJ, Chubb. I think it's pretty even, bro. I'd probably rather have the CD side by a hair just because I don't trust Adams. I like Higgins, but don't fully trust Higgins. I love Bijan. CD's the best player in the deal, in my opinion, so I'm going to lean toward that side. Very, very solid trade. Chubbs, appreciate Chubbs with the super chat. Trade was vetoed. C. Brown, Devontae Smith for Achane. That is ridiculous. But good trade trying to get Achane, bro. I like where your mind's at. Keep trying. Jettas for Jaden Reed and Bijan. I'd rather have Jettas. That's a good trade. Understandably why you went in that direction. I like that move, bro. Nice job. Very, very nice job. Let's see here. This was offered DK for my Najee. I would rather have DK for the long term if you can weather the storm. Garrett Wilson and Worthy for Kupp. I'd rather have probably, if you have the depth, I'd rather have Kupp. If you need the 2 players, then you kind of can't trade those 2 guys, but I'd rather have Kupp overall in a vacuum, if that helps. Trade Hunt, Pickens for Achane, JSN, win, lose. Depends on, I would say Achane side. I'm not going to say depends on anything. I'd take the Achane side. Trade Lamar and Debo for Jamar Chase. I would rather have, Lamar and Debo. But Chase and Mahomes, yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, give me Mahomes and Chase. Given that you have Mahomes sitting there, and I know a lot of people would say he's trash, but I think that's a great gamble for you to make. Trade Chase Brown for JSN. And keep in mind, you get all these Lamar points. I mean, Lamar's still going to ball out, but will he be exactly the same player that he was 5 touchdown Lamar Jackson? I mean, I don't know that he's going to continue on that pace, so I think that the fact that you're selling him high, you're getting Jamar Chase, I'm fine with it. Trade Chase Brown for JSN. David, that's pretty even, Steven. You could go either way on that one. That's nothing that's going to... Trade Garrett Wilson and Hubbard for Achane. I'd take Achane and I don't want to say run, but nearly run. Smitty, can you touch on bounce back players? Dell, Laporta, Nico. I mean, they're all very, very capable of bouncing back. Nico more than anybody. Laporta maybe second up. MHJ and Dell are victims of their situation, and I can't guarantee that they bounce back because I can't guarantee their situations will change. I think Laporta's situation is amazing, so yes, he will bounce back. Nico, even if Stroud can't bounce back Dell, I think Nico has proven that he's going to catch pretty much anything in his vicinity, so I think he will bounce back for sure. Okay, let's see. TM42, Superflex, Knicks, and Debo for Tyreek. I'd rather have Tyreek. I just think that there's more value there, even in a Superflex spot. Drop downs or Leggett for Pearsall or McMillan. I'd probably drop both of them for both of them, bro, for sure. And honestly, they're ranked like neck and neck. I don't know that you could argue that like Coleman, Jennings, or Pearsall, one's crushing the other one. They're all very close. Hey, Smitty just traded Bowers and Ramondre for Hurts. I also have McBride and have Mahomes thoughts. Bowers and Ramondre for Hurts. I mean, look, I think you're kind of throwing some value at a position that you may need to fill in Hurts over Mahomes, but you also could look at it the other way. But I don't mind that trade. I think it's fine. I don't think because you have Mahomes, it's hard to like totally value it, but I think it could be good. Maybe you can sell Mahomes high if he has a couple big games or something. Send Stroud and Jacobs for CD and Purdy. I'd rather have CD and Purdy by a lot. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Alexander with a super chat. Who should I pick up first? Dobbs, Keenan Allen, Juwan Jennings, drop Spears for Moss. I guess I'd take Moss, yeah. And Superflex have Daniels, Jackson, and Flacco pick up Winston. I guess, bro. Winston's, he might be DTR, so I don't know that there's an answer there yet. And who should you pick up first? I'd probably say Keenan Allen, then Juwan Jennings, and then Dobbs in that order. They're all very, very close, though. Jennings is kind of crafty right now, but Keenan Allen, I think, is a must grab. Knicks, Darnold, AR, Cook moves. Target Nico. I certainly would target Nico. I definitely would target Nico. DK and Nico, I'd probably say that I wouldn't use that. Jaden Reed for Nico, I suppose, but you could also argue that Jaden Reed's very undervalued right now. Nico's tough because, like, you have CD, you have Reed, you have DK. I think you should be targeting Achane. You should be targeting, running backs like JT and Achane, not using Hunt and Cook potentially, and going after a better quarterback upgrade, bro. I know Darnold's been doing well, and I'm not, I don't hate on Darnold. I just think that there are some quarterbacks you could get low, but I would certainly be not targeting receivers as much as I would be targeting the RB room, bro. 5 and 2. Achane's not going to be free forever. Right now, he's free, practically. People are just trashing Achane. 5 and 2, starting wide receivers: Wilson, DK, Debo. I have McConkey, Jennings, Downs. With Debo and DK potentially out, what moves can I do to avoid losing? Cooper Kupp, he's also questionable, but you'd have to throw in McConkey or Jennings with Debo to get that kind of player. Other receivers, Reed is very undervalued. I like Reed over a DK or a Debo if you need to get wins and you can't afford it. But the thing is, you're 5 and 2. So I don't know that I'm trading DK or Debo on the cheap. I would do it if it was like a Tyreek Hill and you give up like Jennings and Debo. I'd go for Tyreek Hill. Otherwise, I'm not really freaking out because you're 5 and 2. You're the exact person that wants to hold, not sell low. Smitty kind of in a do or die situation. 2 and 5. Debo probably out. Do I trade him or waiver someone? Reed again. I'm going to use Jaden Reed constantly. Team is Hurts, AJB, Tyreek, Debo, Etienne, Kincaid, Eckler, Leggett. I think Tyreek's perfect for this team. AJB, Hurts. You got a lot of buys out of the way. Fantastic squad. Maybe you look Debo to Reed. Maybe you look Debo to a player like what could you maybe go get? Who would be equivalent to Reed? Let's see here. It's a tough call, bro. Reed. Reed, Kupp, Devontae Smith, McLaurin. I think Reed's maybe the best one. He might be the best, like, Debo equivalent. Like, you're in a bind and you need to get rid of Debo or somebody like DK and you need to go down a little bit but get somebody that's in there. It's probably Reed. 5 and 2 got offered Hunt and Smith or Devontae Smith. Hunt and Smith for London and Najee. I would take Hunt and Smith. I'd probably take London and Najee because Hunt maybe is on borrowed time. But it's a really close call. Because Najee, I mean, he's playing well right now. Should I trade Kupp and Moore for JJ? DJ Moore and Kupp for JJ. I take JJ and run. Bijan and Brees as running backs. Yeah, JJ and run, bro. JJ's worth more than that. Trade ideas: Mahomes, Kyron, Gibbs, Bigsby. Like the team, Waddle, JSN. I mean, obviously, I want you to upgrade wide receiver. I want you to trade like JSN or Waddle with Bigsby to get Hill. to get someone like A.J. Brown, to get maybe a Neighbors or a Tyreek Hill, a Jaden Reed potentially. Waddle for Jaden Reed. Reed's really cheap right now. JSN and Waddle for Reed, but then you're kind of thin. But Ramondre droppable? No, I'd probably try and trade Ramondre with Waddle to get, like, maybe that's what you do to get Reed. You know, both those guys to get Reed potentially. Ramondre's not tradable 1-for-1, but you throw him in, people will take him. Lost Godwin in another league, 3 and 4. Have London, BT, Higgins, Pittman, J-Mo. Running backs Bijan, Kyron, Monty, Brooks, and he moves Brooks and maybe a Higgins for a Hill. Brooks and a potential Brooks and J-Mo for a Hill, or maybe Brooks for Reed. Reed's very cheap right now. I keep throwing Reed out there. 3 and 4, you could afford to play around with Deebo Samuel, even if he's missing a week and then has the bye week. But definitely think Reed's the best option for a lot of you in these situations. Too many options. JJ, Amon-Ra, Diggs, T. Higgins, Kenneth Walker, Monty, Mason, Chuba, Connor, Bigsby. Just got offered Mixon and Metcalf for Monty, Connor, T. Should I take it? Mixon and Metcalf for Monty, Connor, T. I would take it. I would take that. That's really good, bro. Mixon's playing out of his mind right now. I want Mixon, believe it or not. I want Mixon in a lot of trades. Got Allen, Brees, Najee, Bucky, Zay, JJ, middle of the pack in standings. Got a guy with held Nico and Mike Evans and Amon-Ra. Is Zay, Cooper, and Najee an overpay for Amon-Ra and Nico? No, it's not. Zay, Jones, Cooper, Amari Cooper, and Najee for just Amon-Ra is fine. You get both of them, I would be surprised. But I think also Tyreek Hill ramp would be another player that I want you to go get, kind of in that same vein. Drop Vidal for receiver on waivers if my Chase Mostert for Kyron trade goes through. Drop Vidal for receiver. Yeah, I'd probably take Jennings or Coleman or Pearsall, and then McMillan, almost in that order. Rolando with a super chat, but Uncle C dropping a $20 hauler moves right to the front of the line. I'm 5-2 in a 12-team superflex. I lost Ayuk and Godwin. I have Skywalker, Charbonnet, JT Goodson, Devontae Smith, Devontae Adams, Deontay Johnson, sorry. Bigsby, Dowdle, Ferguson, Hurts, Love. I'm making trades or going to waivers. I mean, try and go to waivers for sure, but am I trying to move, let's say, a Love or a Hurts in it's a super flex, so don't trade those QBs. Never mind. Let's see here. Bigsby. Bigsby's a good trade piece for you. Bigsby and maybe Bigsby for Reed. I keep using Reed because he's great. Bigsby for Devontae Smith. Those are moves you almost have to make in a way to get a receiver. Oh, you got Devontae Smith. Damn it. But Bigsby for Reed. Reed makes a lot of sense, bro. Reed for Hill. Bigsby and something for Hill. Bigsby and Dowdle for Hill. Bigsby and keep your running backs. I like this team. I think Reed's your target. Debo because, or Collins is good. You're 5-2. You could wait on either receiver. So I think Bigsby for Debo, for Cooper Kupp, for maybe even Puka Nacua, for Reed. Those are your options, Uncle. I'd use those. Thank you for the $20 hauler. 2-5. My league sucks. They don't trade it unless they're winning by winning the trade. What do I do with my team? Kyler, Love, JT, Hall, Chase Brown, MHJ, Waddle, London, Dell. I'm going to keep using Reed. I'm going to stay with the theme. Reed, Tyreek Hill. Maybe even you're 2-5. Debo is going to be tough. Puka's interesting though. Waddle, London. Look, you're okay at wide receiver. You got Tua back. MHJ's not garbage. So this is tough to say, but I almost stand down versus make knee-jerk reactions because I believe your receiving room, it's the kind of room that if you change lanes, you're going to regret it, and unless you're getting into a Tyreek Hill. So if I could trade Waddle, keep London, Waddle and Jennings, Waddle and MHJ for one Tyreek Hill, Waddle and MHJ for one player like I personally would take the gamble on Nico. Clearly, I'd take a Neighbors. I don't know that you're going to find people that are freaking out on Neighbors. I think Reed is fantastic. Waddle for Reed. Waddle and Jennings for Reed. Something along those lines. Chase Brown and MHJ for Reed. Chase Brown for Reed. Chase Brown and Waddle for Reed and something. I also think Devontae Smith is very, very solid. A buy low. It's worth the gamble. Chase Brown and... but Waddle could get back to form. You know, with Tua back, I think you're almost best, Rolando, to just wait it out and see what Waddle looks like. And you could be regretting it, but at the same time, like, who's going to overpay for Waddle right now? You know, I'd rather just wait. Trade Addison for Keenan Allen. I could go either way on that. I guess give me Keenan Allen slightly. Tracy plus Kraft. Mahomes for Tracy plus Kraft. Caleb is my other QB. I don't mind either side of that as long as like you have a good tight end situation going on, bro, and you want to use the depth to get a buy low QB. I'm fine with that. I'm very fine with that. This one here, trade Devontae Smith for Dobbins. I'd rather have Devontae Smith by a country mile, regardless of what depth you have, just because I think I could flip that differently. Weak at running back, 4-point TD passes. I give Hurts and Bucky. I get Murray and Brian Robinson Jr. I'd probably say no. I'd rather have Hurts, bro. I think I solved that problem differently. And Bucky's not horrible, but like I solved that problem differently. You know, go after a Reed. Go after, or I'm sorry, a running back. Go after RBs. I'd probably say, you know, James Cook is undervalued. Achan's obviously undervalued. Mason's interesting for somebody that wants to go toward a little risk. Yeah. Got offered JD5 and Tyreek for my Stroud, Reed, and Hunt. I'd rather have Tyreek and JD5 by quite a bit. 5-2. No need for Hunt. Yeah, that's an easy call. Rolando, did I answer this one already? I think I did. Dobbs, Pittsburgh, unless I'm winning the trade. Okay, yeah. Appreciate you with the super chat, bro. If you got a follow-up, let me know. Roster is JD5, Love, Kupp, Diggs, Reed, Kyron, Walker, Achan. Was offered my Walker and Reed for St. Brown, Bigsby, and ETN and Andrews. Woo! Walker and Reed for St. Brown, Bigsby. I kind of lean... That's really good. That's a really good trade. Walker and Reed. I mean, Walker I love in this trade. St. Brown I love most. Bigsby and Reed. I guess I'd lean toward the St. Brown side. That's a really good trade. And having ETN and St. Brown together is pretty safe, you know, at the end of the day. So that's a good trade, bro. Nice job. Either way, though, like if you run either side of that, I wouldn't say you take a lap. Trade my Hunt for Kupp. I'd rather a Kupp. Have JTH. Yeah, Kupp by a mile. Kupp's value is going to increase again. Hey, Smitty, freaking out. Lost Godwin on my team. Is Dak, Kyron, Jacobs, Amon-Ra, Debo, Flex, Dobbins, McBride, benches, Quorum, Ladd, Vidal. I got to trade Dell in WV. Wait, what? I got to trade Dell in waivers. Is that what you're saying? I don't know what you're saying on the last part, but I mean, what are you going to do? Like maybe use McBride if you can, I suppose, and pick up a tight end off waivers and hope that you can fill that spot, like if you need to make a move, but not trading Kyron. Jacobs and McBride for like a JT type of upgrade, or Dobbins and McBride for a Tyreek Hill or something along those lines. Dobbins for Jaden Reed. Ladd's got some trade value. Ladd and Dobbins for a Reed. Ladd and Dobbins for Aaron Jones. Ladd and Dobbins for Monty. Ladd and Dobbins for Jordan Mason. Ladd and Dobbins for Nico injured, for Puka Nacua. I think those would be smashes, my guy. The buy low video tonight's going to be huge. It's going to be absolutely huge. I can't stress enough that tonight's buy low video is gonna potentially win leagues. Just like the Jahmyr Gibbs move is, I think, putting people in strong positioning to win leagues. Not Kwani, $10 holler, 3 and 4. What can I do here? Superflex, PPR, Love, Goff, Bijan, Kenneth Walker, Tracy, Allen, Corum. I don't know, bro, on this one. This one's tough. Love, Bijan, Kyle. I'd probably say Adams, Hill, Nico. You just kind of wait this one out, bro. Kwani, I'm not trying to tell you not to make trades. You know, I'm all about making trades. I'm all about trying to help people make a trade. But this team in the top left corner here, not Kwani, I think you're just in a position where you're riding the Bijan, Kenneth Walker trains. You can't trade them on the high, really. These are not guys I would recommend you sell, because I don't think you're going to get what you deserve out of them. So Adams, you can't trade him. Hill, you can't trade him. Nico, you can't trade him. Laporta, you can't trade him. But this is a very good team at the end of the day. You're 3 and 4. I get it. You're panicking. But these RBs are steady. These wide receivers will be. Now that Hill's got his boy back, Adams should get better. Maybe you're trading Garrett Wilson and I don't know. Garrett Wilson, no one's going to take Garrett Wilson and Adams together. It's brutal that you got stuck that way. I would say trading one of them for I'm going to say hold strong, not Kwani. Let these guys gain some value. They're all buy lows. I don't like selling them low, and you have to sell them low. I'm going to say wait, stand down. There's nothing there that makes sense. I like read a little bit, for like Adams or Garrett Wilson if you're trying to swap one out. Rashad White or for Nico, I'd take Nico and run. Tracy for Tillman, McMillan, I fumble. Did I fumble Dynasty? Tracy for Tillman or McMillan? I'd rather have McMillan. Not a huge like Tracy Dynasty guy. Tracy's 25 years old. If Daniels doesn't play, start Jameson Winston. We got to figure out if he's fully like for sure going to start. T. Law or Justin Herbert off the wire. Probably T. Law. But that's tough, Curtis. 2 and 5, 10-man PPR, Jaden Daniels, Jacobs, Mason. JD5, Jacobs, Mason, CMC. Okay, so you got Mason and CMC together. You got Neighbors, Terry. Good team, bench Mahomes. Puka, Chase Brown. I mean, once Puka comes back, you're kind of like, you got a decent team here. You got a really solid team. I think I'm trying to get it, like Gibbs was the guy to go get before last week. Now Achan's the guy. So like Mason, CMC for Achan and a player. And if you got to get a 2-for-2 involved, you could. Would I explore trading JD5 on the high if possible off the injury and just say with this team at 2 and 5, you got to take a risk and say you've got to bank on Mahomes coming back, put him in the lineup, trade JD5, and let's say a Jacobs, JD5 and Jacobs for a JT coming off the injury. That would be a smart, I think, risk to take. You kind of have to take that gamble. You're not in a luxury position of saying, "Oh, I want to not gamble on Mahomes." You got to. Real quick, 30-second phone call sesh.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Real quick. Phone call session. We got about 900 of you still in the building. We're about 70 subscribers away. I can see everyone when you subscribe. I got 30,000, roughly 30 subscribers left to get to 31K. So honestly, with 900 people in here, I can guarantee you that we have enough people, if you haven't subscribed yet, to hit 31K, which I would change the board behind me live on the show. So hit that subscribe button if you would. Like the video as well. We are on the way to 30K. Thank you for the 2 subscribes. Appreciate you all for hitting that button. Curtis with another super chat here. Traded Mark Andrews and Jennings for Reed. I love that. Reed is one of the best buy lows. Thank you for the 2 subscribes that just came in. Reed is one of the best buy low wide receiver ones. He truly is still a low end wide receiver 1. 100% low end wide receiver 1. I love that. I love that move. Thank you, Joe. Joe says subscribe and like. Appreciate you. We'll call it a show here because I'll be back to do the buy low show. This gives me enough time to get back here. Buy low tonight. The top wide receivers. I'm going to do probably all of it in one. Running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, tight ends. Buy low show tonight. See you all tonight. Appreciate every single one of you. And yeah, so tonight, right around midnight Eastern, buy low show, week number 8. Peace out. Stay liquid, stay loose. Stay liquid, stay loose. We say that on the channel a lot. You got to be able to adjust and adapt. If you're loose, if you're liquid, you're able to endure. You're able to flex and weather the storm. Okay? So as we say, loose if you're loose. I opened the phone lines and it wasn't ringing. Maybe I need to close it, but nobody called in. Kind of makes sense that it wasn't working. Probably got to reset it. Did you try calling in? Because it wasn't ringing for anybody. It probably was broken. That's why no calls came in.